AITA. Am I the a-hole for being upset with my $150 engagement ring? My fiancé is quite well off, and while I don't make as much as him, I certainly would not be struggling on my own. He rotates between a few very expensive watches that he wears to work, and while we have a good grasp on financial literacy, we aren't shy about spending for the important parts of life. We openly share finances, so I know he isn't secretly in debt or any such nonsense. The ring is nice and understated, but more of a nice stacker than an engagement ring to show off. The stone, which is doubtful of being a diamond, is quite small. It is not heirloom. When friends or family get engaged, there is always the excitement in sharing the news, and inevitably someone will ask to see the ring, and then everyone coos over it and it's a good time. When I showed mine, the mood got awkward, and they feigned excitement just long enough until it was okay to change the topic. This is not a knock on them, they are just terrible liars. I would like to make clear that I am not expecting a 3-month salary ring, or an over-the-top wedding. However, this is a piece I will be wearing daily for decades, and is largely considered a symbol of his love. I know not all feel this way, but we do, or at least I thought we did. But I really don't think I'm out of line for thinking of it as a long-term investment piece, given the amount of wear it will see and the sentimentality behind it. Surely it is worth more than a gaming console. AITA. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I thought I would put the answers here. We had briefly talked about overall style, and he has access to my jewelry box to know the stuff I typically wear. As the price of the ring wasn't very important to me, the budget for it was never really discussed, which I see as a mistake now, but I didn't realize that this could be a problem. Price is not important so much as I don't care if he spent $1,000 or $100,000 on it, but this ring looks cheap. It is not quality craftsmanship. The dampened excitement of showing off my ring was only a part of my post, the rest being that his drastic low ball on a piece I will be wearing every day for the rest of my life doesn't seem like the symbol of love one traditionally associates with engagement and wedding pieces. It's about having a very wealthy fiancé that invests more into the latest gaming console than he does a lifelong symbol of our love. To you, a ring might be just a ring, but unless otherwise discussed, it would be silly to assume it to be a throwaway item. In my culture as well, the engagement ring is paired with the wedding band, not replaced. We share our finances, and I saw the charge on the bank statement. If he paid in cash as well, then he overpaid. Given that he has bought me more expensive jewelry in the past, and sees what I wear on a regular basis, for him to lowball an important item this much seems pretty far out of left field, and not something I would thought I would have needed to clarify with him, even if we had a longer conversation about it. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have. I think I am more hurt with what it says to give your fiancé such a low-priced ring, when money clearly isn't the issue, than the fact that the ring itself was low budget. If we were worse off and $150 took effort to save for, I would be over the moon at what he got me, and shoving it in everyone's face. However, this is not remotely the case. He has gifted diamond studs and other fine jewelry before, and will splurge a bit more if it's something for the both of us, for example a surprise getaway weekend for a holiday. He doesn't throw his money around needlessly, but he isn't stingy. To be blunt, it's a cheap ring. In look and cost. Yes, he could have spent hours picking out the indie jeweler to get the ring that is nothing like what I have, or have ever mentioned liking in a much lower price bracket than we would ordinarily spend on just regular accessories. However, I don't feel like I'm making a large leap in assuming he didn't. To me, this is about more than just the fact that he didn't get the exact style I had in mind. I also take exception to the people here, acting like being unhappy with the ring means I'm unhappy with the engagement. Nowhere have I ever said this to be the case. Life isn't an all or nothing game. I can be unhappy with the ring, while still being madly in love with my fiancé and thrilled to spend our lives together. We will be talking about this for sure, but I know this can be a touchy subject and wanted an objective eye on it first. I will update this post after that conversation. Update. He came home and we were settling down, and around dinner I started the conversation with, "Honey, I'd like to talk about the ring," and before I could finish he just blew up. Started yelling frocking finally, and how I'd ruined everything by waiting so long. To be brief, he bought a shooty ring from a jeweler who got bad reviews, so that when I got upset over it he could dump me under the guise that I was a gold digger. He has apparently been having an affair. Turns out COVID had shortened his work hours, not extended, with a younger model that he's earned, but knew that breaking things off when everyone loved me so much would hurt his optics, so he had to make it my fault. He knew that leaving this pariah ship would gain him sympathy, and there was a lot of rhetoric that clearly wasn't his own words, but something he was parroting from what I highly suspect is from a much too influential work friend, that I've had disagreements with in the past. Changes I had attributed to work stress are glaringly obvious to me now, as symptoms of something more malicious under the surface, and I feel really ashamed I didn't see things more clearly earlier, or wasn't somehow able to head things off before they got this far. I won't be sticking around to dig any deeper, but I know my now ex-fiancé would not have done and said the things he did, without being pushed from bad influences behind the scenes. This doesn't mean I forgive him. I think he is incredibly weak and feeble-minded for letting this happen to us, but I also doubt I will be contacting many of our mutual friends as the dust settles. I left in the middle of his tirade around the 15 minutes mark, and am staying with at my mother's. I haven't cried yet, and I think I'm still waiting for it all to suddenly make sense, but I know logically it might not ever. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post and offered your thoughts. I don't think anyone could have predicted what was going to happen from the information I gave, and now I'm off to r/Lycos and r/I bleach until the waterworks decide to flow, and I can have a good cry over it all. On the plus side, if there is one, is that I don't have to wear the frocking hideous ring anymore. Edit. Okay, per the update, definitely NTA. Not the a-hole, and he is a supreme a-hole. Kudos to OP and her spidey sense regarding the inappropriateness of the ring she was given. If she had followed the advice of those who told her she was shallow, and should live with the cheap ring, she would have made the worst mistake of her life. Take care OP. My original comment, pre-update. Some are calling you shallow, but you've made it clear that you're not asking for anything super expensive, just something a step above costume jewelry. Especially given your comments that he also has a few nice watches he wears, etc., I don't think you're shallow or an a-hole for wanting something nicer. At the same time, I don't think he's the a-hole for getting you what he got. What's clear is that, you guys had zero communication about the cost or style of the ring before it was bought, even though you are open enough about your finances to share them. This speaks more to problems inherent in your relationship than the ring itself. You need to talk to him about your concerns and, if it's that important to you, contribute to the cost of a nicer ring. I'm so frocking sick of Reddit acting like someone's shallow, because they expect a certain amount of style and quality, for something they expected to wear all the time every day of their life. Jesus. I don't think I've ever experienced whiplash from an update. Definitely NTA. Not the a-hole. Here reading for the first time after the update. Well, that went from 0 to WTF in an instant. Good that you spoke up at least. Though that was his plan that you would. Move on. This entrapment to gaslight you is psychopathic. AITA. Am I the a-hole for wanting to return an expensive engagement ring? My boyfriend recently proposed to me. We'd been talking about getting engaged for a while, and he wanted me to pick the ring of my dreams. I told him from the beginning I didn't care what the ring cost, and that I would be happy with a simple band. He insisted he wanted to get me something truly incredible. In the end, he spent around $12,000 on the ring. I offered to pay half. He refused. I tried to get a smaller center diamond, he thought the larger looked better in the setting. Just to clarify, we both make good money, and while he's not crazy rich, spending $12,000 on the ring didn't bankrupt him either. Fast forward a few weeks, a few times now, he's reminded me of how much he spent on the ring, like, what do you have to complain about? I just spent $12,000 on your ring, or I'm not the one wearing a $12,000 ring. I'm tired of it, and feel like the ring is a noose around my neck. This morning, I told him I wanted him to return the ring, it's still within the 90-day return window, and I could wear a small band instead. I told him I didn't want the price of the ring constantly thrown in my face. He completely lost it and told me I was being ungrateful, and the ring was a symbol of his love. I think it's manipulative to mention the price of the ring after he's given it to me, when I never pushed for an expensive ring. Am I the a-hole here? NTA. Not the a-hole, but I have more concerned about why he does that than the price of the ring. It's like he bought you with it, so now you need to act right for him. This reminds me of my ex. I had to work really hard to please him, and when he finally proposed, I stupidly said yes. He lorded over me the fact that he was agreeing to marry me, and that now that we're getting married you should start to behave like my wife. 0/10, super manipulative. NTA. It is manipulation. A gift is not an obligation, and he is trying to make the $12,000 ring just that. NTA. I was in a relationship with an abusive guy who would buy expensive things/services for me without asking me, and sometimes flat against my wishes, and then guilt me afterwards with the cost of it. I would have a serious sit down with him, and try to get him to explain his line of thinking. Everything here is sending up red flags for me. Your ring, $12,000. Gas for returning ring, $1.85. Therapy for dealing with manipulator, $300. The red flag he's gifted you, priceless.